overall, which to me makes complete sense. What shocked me was the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos, the Dolphins, and Philly were below them. I'm sure the Dolphins are going to go up a little bit after last night's performance. 22nd in pass defense, 3rd in run defense. They have them, according to DVOA statistics, which the way DVOA works is it takes your opponent, it takes what your opponent does, it takes a whole bunch of different things. They have them ranked as the 11th ranked defense. But traditional statistics will tell you they're one of the worst. 20th in the league in yards per game, 16th in passing yards, 26th in rushing yards. And yet the numbers and the math that I've done today have said Phillip Rivers is going to have to throw the football to win this game.
See, that's weird because, I mean, like you said, they're giving up 140 yards a game this season on the ground.
Yes, sir.
And that doesn't make sense. But then again, Jonathan Taylor, he's an interesting aspect. He's still new to this offensive line, the Colts and the players and everything. And he's only averaging less than 4 yards a carry right now for a season. So you would think that legitimately Rivers should be the guy to go at this game because last year, the Jets were like the second best, right? Yeah. Second best run defense in football.
They were, but they also had Jamal Adams that had a big piece of that defense.
Is Jamal Adams that big of a deal to the Jets? Not just run defense, but pass rush as well. Because, I mean, that's another thing that the Jets have lacked this season that we've seen. You know, that they haven't had that pass rush in there. And last year, they had it.
Jamal Adams is the Cam Newton of safeties and secondary players and just defensive players. He's an athlete that happens to be in the safety position, but if you saw him in Seattle the other night, he lined up in the box. He lined up on the edge. He lined up as a traditional safety. He lined up as a strong safety. Sometimes the Ed readed it, and he was just on the field in no position and picked his position after the snap. He did make Cam Newton's life a little bit horrible in that game. He clocked Edelman a couple of times hard. Jamal Adams is a freak. The New York Jets just screwed that up so bad because after watching him in Seattle in an organized defense and then looking what's happened to the Jets defense since he's left, I'm now ready to crown him as the best strong safety in the NFL.
Well, that's high praise. Going back to your analytics, I'm going to tell you that San Francisco game, that was a huge deal, okay? Because really, the Jets' run defense was really good in that game. Mm-hmm. But they gave up 3 monster runs, which screwed up all the numbers. But on a general play-to-play basis, they were only given negative yardage to maybe 2 yards a carry.
Which is probably why the DVOA is rounding everything out and saying they're a good run defense.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, legitimately, they are. But if you have a guy who has that breakaway home run ability, expect to see him do that probably once or twice a game because they're selling out to stop the run.
It will be. And analytics are a little... I like using analytics in the offseason, and I like using them around week 8. This time of year, things can change because I bet you Miami's analytics and efficiencies and all those scores are going to skyrocket after the game they had last night, at least offensively. Fitzgerald is going to be phenomenal. But I did do some math myself and figured some stuff up, some analytics, and I'll tell you the simplest number you need to know, Lawrence. The New York Jets offensively averaged 265 yards per game, and the Colts defensively averaged 208. On the flip side, Indy's offense is averaging almost 400 yards per game, 399.5. The Jets are averaging 381.5 yards of offense against them per game. I think that those numbers should be reflective of this game coming up. I do think a lot of it is going to be on J.J. Taylor. And the only way the Jets have a chance of beating the Colts is for them to be able to establish the run game. And the only way they're going to be able to establish the run game is if they're not trailing from behind. You can't keep running the football when you're behind. Because, Lawrence, this is, out of every stat I've read this season, every single one, this is the only team that throws more than they run on first down, second down, and third down. And that has completely to do with an awful defense, and you're putting Sam Darnold in a position and Adam Gase in a position that you can't call run plays because you're playing from behind and you need to throw the football. You shouldn't be a 26-22 pass ratio on first down. It should be closer to 50% or higher in the run category on first down, especially with this Jets team that doesn't have a receiver to save their life.
Well, here's a big issue, all right, because you may not know this, but most Colts fans know this. There's a ton of ex-Colt throwaways on the Jets. Like, you know, how Miami and the Detroit Lions have a lot of Patriots. We got Henry Anderson, Terrell Basham, Pierre Desir, Matthias Farley, Quincy Wilson, and a few others on this team that are just they're ex-Colts. That's where they got their guys. So the Colts know how to play against this defense. And man, I don't know. I don't know if they've got the secondary to cover the Indianapolis Colts offensively, because I'm looking at their secondary, and Pierre Desir is good against big wide receivers. He will probably be on, oh good Lord, Junior. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Michael Pittman. Jeez, how did I forget his name?
So you're asking me a name of all people?
Right? But no, Pierre Desir is good against, like I said, the big, tall wide receivers. He usually went up against D-Hop, right? And usually had a pretty good game against him when he was a Colt. So I expect him to play against, our rookie and probably have a good game against him. But who's going to stop T.Y. Hilton? Mm-hmm. Who on this secondary? T.Y.'s not had a good season thus far, but I fully expect him to have a bounce-back game. He's still healthy, right?
Yeah.
And he's that speed receiver. They just asked him, hey, with Paris down, would you be interested in dropping in the slot and using that like you used to? And he says, man, I'll do anything I darn well need to do in order to get a W, So who on that secondary could cover a T.Y. Hilton? I don't see anyone.
No, I don't either. And for the sake of my fantasy team, I hope that T.Y. Hilton goes off this week because he's been a massive disappointment since the season started. And I know they don't play for fantasy time. But I don't know, Lawrence, if it comes down to just covering receivers, because what I will tell you is and from the little bit of the Jets I've watched, I've seen this, and I think it's also a reason why they are doing a lot of negative runs. They're giving up big runs because the linebacking core starts to slow down a little bit. But I was just looking at the numbers of the defensive lines and offensive lines of the Jets. Now, I do want to start by saying that when we look at offensive lines, Indianapolis is ranked the 14th best offensive line right now for run offense, and the 6th best passing offensive line right now. That's not a bad, you know what I mean? That's not a bad place to be sitting. But when I look at the defensive line of the New York Jets, this one kind of surprised me a little bit. They're ranked 11th against the pass, this defensive line on its own, and 2nd against the run. So their front four is the dangerous part of this Giants team. Luckily, it's a good battle because you're having the 4th and 11th against the 15th and 6th. So your front should be able to keep up with them. But I think you're going to expect at some point today them getting in Phillip Rivers' face a little bit, or Sunday, you should expect them to be getting in Phillip Rivers' face a little bit because they do have a front four that can get through the offensive line.
And that's funny because 2 of those front 4 are Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Terrell Basham, Henry Anderson. They're both ex-Colts. And now Quinnen Williams is really the big pass rusher, right? I mean, that's just what he is. That's what he does best. He's been getting a lot of pressures. I don't think he's been hitting home a lot lately, though, has he? I don't think so. From what I remember seeing, I think I saw him once or twice hit home, but he's been getting some pressures.
The Jets have. Sorry, I was looking at offensive lines. Give me a second here. The Jets have 6 sacks on the season. So, I mean, they're averaging 3 a game, which is pretty good. That's just a defensive line. That's not the linebackers or safeties coming in. That's just the front 4 sack, or front 3, however they run, sacking the quarterback.
But look at the quarterbacks that they played against. San Francisco won, and then the guy goes down, and then the backup, and then Josh Allen.
Yeah, but Josh Allen's got wheels, man.
Yes, but he likes to hold that football.
He does, but I do argue, too, that Buffalo has a pretty solid offensive line, but I will argue, too, that their offensive line hasn't looked great. I think they're ranked 30th overall in run protection and in pass protection, because why would they make this easy for me to find? They're ranked 12th, so they're not bad in pass protection. But, yeah, and I mean, look, there's a lot of things, right? It's like the Bills. If they're playing the Rams this week, I said we're finally seeing both those teams getting a real test. And I know the Rams beat Dallas, but that was week 1. This is a real test to show who's for real and who's not. The Jets, we know, are not for real. The Jets, but we've also all said they're going to win at least a game or 2. And you're right, man. I think as good as Jacksonville played, I think that Colts team was let down a little bit as well and could have played better. This is also a hobbling Indianapolis Colts team. I mean, if you're going to strike on the Colts, now's the time to do it. Campbell's out, right? I mean, you've got Hooker, you've got injuries all over the place. Now, you've got depth that can make up different positions, but now you're relying completely on J.J. Taylor. The game is in Phillip Rivers' hands a lot. T.Y. is going to be guarded a little bit better because Paris is gone now. There's a lot of different things. Do I think the Jets are going to beat you? No. Lawrence, no. I mean, you heard Joe and I talking about the other night. We didn't even address the game. We both just said Colts and moved on. And you sat there for an hour waiting to hear what we had to say.
Yeah,
and we just said Colts. But I can see why maybe Colt fans are a little anxious. You know what I mean? Because this seems like a vulnerable, compared to the way we talked about this team this whole offseason. And I was very high on the Colts as well. Now I'm looking at them going, they look a little bit vulnerable, and now I'm worried about them catching the Titans. You know what I mean? Like, just because the Titans are in pretty good health right now.
Well, I think this is a game where the third string tight end, again, could have back-to-back games, huge games. Last week, Mo Alley Cox came out of nowhere. People were like, who the heck is Mo Alley Cox? Gets over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. Now, Colts fans, and if you go check the chat right now, as soon as I said Mo Alley Cox, they're probably all talking about it. But Mo Alley Cox, Colts fans have known who he blah, blah, blah. One of these days I'll learn how to use my tongue. Colts fans know who Mo Alley Cox is. They know he's a great blocker, and he's got these mitts, and I kid you not, they're so big that when he catches a football, it looks like a Nerf ball in his hands. All right. He did drop that first pass that Phillip Rivers threw to him early in the game last week, and it popped up in the air, got intercepted, ran back for a touchdown, hit him right between the numbers. But, you can't help that sometimes. Quarterback can't help that anyhow. The tight end should have been able to help that. But he was open consistently down the middle of the field against the Vikings, and I see that against the Jets as well, because you're going to put a little tiny safety against a 6'6", 250-pound tight end, or are you going to put a linebacker on him who ain't going to be able to keep up with him versus speed? I don't see how the Jets have any answer for Mo Alley Cox unless you double team him. And who's going to double team a third string tight end?
Here's my question. The tape that you watched, what kind of defense do the Jets play? Are they more of a zone defense?
Nope.
They're man-to-man.
They are a man defense. They play zone a lot, but they are more of a man defense. And that is actually one of the reasons why Pierre Desir and Quincy Wilson and Nate Hairston, the other cornerback that used to be a Colt, all went to the Jets because the Colts played so much zone. They wanted to play man-to-man. The Jets play a lot of man-to-man.
So do you think man-to-man falls into the Phillip Rivers wheelhouse, or would you rather see him going up against a zone right now?
Oh, right now, if he's got – if the run game is there, I'd rather see man-to-man all day long. Okay. As long as the Colts can average 3 yards or more a carry, so that play action is effective.
So I want your opinion on this. According to DVOA and DYAR, again, it's all mathematical formula, so it's not somebody's opinion. It's all a mathematical formula. They have Phillip Rivers ranked as the 18th best or worst, whatever the way you want to look at it, quarterback in the NFL right now. Would you agree with that assessment? Do you think that those numbers are undershowing what he did, overshowing what he does? Taking into consideration these numbers include like that interception that wasn't his fault, they get subtracted from those numbers. Would you agree he's sitting around 18 right now?
I think he's a little higher than 18. I mean, he's the third best completion percentage. He's still throwing close to 300 yards a game. It's those interceptions that look bad on him. He's got 3 interceptions in 2 games.
Yeah.
And 2 of those 3 are not on him. But to be fair, he should have 4 interceptions on him. Okay, because there was one that was dropped, and that was kind of his fault, but not really. It was just a bad play call on the coach. 4th and 3, it's either throw it or turn it over anyhow, and he was under pressure. So, but yeah, I think the interceptions really hurt him, and since 2 of the 3 I don't believe is actually on Rivers, I feel like Rivers is playing right around 12. I would say
he has a fumble as well, does he not?
He may have,
but he kept it. But he recovered it.
Yeah.
Fumble for recovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the problem, though, right? 4 turnovers or 3 turnovers and a fumble recovery. That's a lot in 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, and that will affect. And again, these numbers will make more sense week 8. I will accept. That's why I ask, because I will accept arguments now from people who watch, those players all the time. They have Cam Newton ranked as number 10. I'll argue he should be a little bit higher than number 10 because these numbers can fluctuate. I bet you Fitzpatrick is a top 10 now after the game last night. But by week 8, these numbers are usually pretty much the dips and valleys have happened and they work out more. But yeah, man. So I ran a lot of math. I was on the calculator today. I took this show serious because I wanted to give you some numbers. And the numbers don't make sense, Lawrence. So I'll tell you the numbers that make sense to me. It's the math I did on my own that I get away from everybody else. And the fact of the matter is you've got a defense that gives up a lot of yards on the Jets, an offense that gives up a lot, or that puts up a lot of yards on Indy. You've got a Jets offense that puts up hardly any yards, 32nd in the NFL. And you got the Indianapolis Colts, that's number 1 for yards in the NFL. And I just want to look at the points per game. The Colts put up defensively are 8th in the league, and offensively the Jets are 31st. The Colts are 17th in the league. The Jets are 24th defensively. All the numbers are telling me this should be a Jets win. I'll tell you what, though. It's an 11-point spread. Because of your injuries. If you had the healthy team, I probably would have laid 11 points. Because of the injuries, I don't feel good putting 11 because I could see this being a 10-point game. A touchdown and a field goal. That's a lot. You know what I mean? I just don't feel comfortable laying 11 points on the Colts right now.
I don't know. I think it really depends upon how this game starts out. I think that if the Colts jump out to an early 10-point lead, this is going to get ran away. It'll be a runaway game. If for some reason the Colts allow Frank Gore to get going, that's what scares me, because no matter how good and tight a defense, a front seven is, Gore always seems to find a way to squeeze between arm tackles and find 3 or 4 yards on every carry. You almost never see him go down for a dead stop or a loss of yards. So that's the one thing that scares. That and the fact that Sam Darnold. There's times when I watch Sam Darnold and I go, my goodness, that's Russell Wilson out there. You know, there's times when he plays like that. But the problem is no one else on the team can stay up with his abilities. That's the other problem. So I got a feeling that the Colts will probably jump out to a lead because there's going to be mistakes by a very beat up. As bad as the Colts are, as you say, the Jets are like 10 times worse. There's only one team that has more IR injuries right now than them, and that's the Niners. Yeah. So I see too many backups playing for the Jets for them to really get going.
Moving forward with the Colts, is there anybody else who can run the football?
Oh, yeah. Because Jordan Wilkins leads the NFL in rushing for all running backs with at least 50 carries or more a season. He averages 5.8 yards a carry for a career.
Okay. And how much has he been used this season?
I think he had 9 carries last week. He had no carries week 1. It was all Marlon Mack and Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. And then week 2, it was Jonathan Taylor and then Jordan Wilkins. We'll probably see more Jordan Wilkins going down the line since Marlon Mack is out.
Yeah, because I'm trying to look at his thing here. He has 9 carries on the year.
Yeah, 9 carries last week.
Yeah, and that's it. But he's averaging 4.4 yards. JJ Taylor is averaging 3.5.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, where my only concern comes in. And look, we had the same running issues in New England. And, that's a big concern for me right now. Averaging under 4 yards as an offense is very, very concerning in my eyes. And that's where I was wondering going forward, could you see Wilkins getting more carries, or could you see the Colts maybe making a move to try to find another running back?
They brought running backs in. I think they brought like 9 running backs in this past week to look at.
Yeah, you got a lot of running backs on your roster right now.
Yeah, I still see Jordan Wilkins getting a lot of the carries. I could see Nyheim Hines getting a lot of carries too. He looks pretty good. He's more of a scat back, obviously, but someone who can catch the ball and make things happen in the pass game as well. Someone that you'll probably see a lot of on third down. So I'm comfortable with the 3 running backs we have, on the 53 in that running back stable as is going forward with the season, as long as there's not another injury.
Okay. So as an impartial observer this week, actually I am partial because I want the Jets to lose, but as an impartial observer, who should I be watching on the Colts? One player offensively and one player defensively. Who should I be focusing in on this week?
Most definitely, again, second week in a row, you should pay attention to Mo Alley-Cox. I don't see any way the Jets are going to be able to stop him. He was put on alert last week. Everybody heard his name for a brief moment. There's some tape on him now, but I don't think the Jets have the personnel to handle him. I think T.Y. Hilton will probably have a good game too. I think T.Y. Hilton I know you said one person, but most people out there is just, they don't know Mo Alley-Cox, and they're not going to pick him up on fantasy. Yeah. Defensively, the easy answer would be to say guys like DeForest Buckner or Darius Leonard. Yeah. Those are the easy answers. I'm going to tell you, watch out for Julian Blackmon. He's the guy he's the rookie, 3rd round draft pick. Came in after Malik Hooker went out with the season-ending Achilles injury last week, and he played well. He played very well. I expect him to do very well again this week. I'm hoping you won't see a lot of tackles in the run game because I'm hoping that the running backs don't get past the front 7. but I'm hoping to see some really impressive plays in the passing game.
What round did you guys take him in? The third round?
Mm-hmm.
He's a
Yeah.
4-year. He's a 4-year guy out of Utah, right?
Yeah. And had the ACL injury
Yeah.
starting off, and he didn't play. We literally just took him off of IR right, I think week 1.
Yeah. Because I looked at him as a flyer. I remember questioning that pick for you guys in the third round.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a high pick to take an injured player.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Tua. You know what I mean? Like, it's
No, but if you like what the guy put on tape enough, and you feel as though that fits your scheme exactly what you want, then you take that flyer on him. You know.
Okay.
It's kind of like picking Darius Leonard. You know.
Yeah. All right. So since we are. Since I have you here and we're talking strictly Colts, it's not often that we get to really just talk strictly Colts.
No, we don't.
I got some questions to ask you. Taquan Lewis.
Tyquan Lewis, yep.
My guy, as you know.
Ohio State.
Is he going to be a good NFL player or what?
I think he had a sack last game. I think it was last game he had a sack. There was he had injury issues his rookie season. He also had issues understanding the defensive scheme. Now in his second year, he's put in a lot of work from what I understand in the offseason during training camp. All fingers point to him trending upward. You will not see him on the starting lineup when you have the guys that we have on the defensive line, but he is one of those players that could come in and play any position on that D line and give someone a break. So he's still going to get his snaps. Okay. He's going to get plenty of snaps. So he might even be one of those guys that maybe after Justin Houston retires, he could step in. You know, okay. I think he's trending up, but he's still got a lot to prove.
I was very worried about him, even coming out of college, and thought he just didn't look like an NFL guy to me. You know what I mean? So that's why I was worried. One more question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Any way you could try to like keep my boys healthy or what? Like Malik, Paris, like you're just killing them. You're killing them, Lawrence. These are my guys. These are my guys.
You think I wanted them to go down?
I pumped these two all off season, right? You got Malik, you got Paris, you got my boys.
And they both were playing so good before they went down too. Oh my goodness. And they both went down in the same game last week against the Vikings. Well, Paris may come back because it's a PCL, not an ACL. So, he could come back in the next, 4 to 6 weeks. So, his season may not be over with. But, yeah, Hooker's done. That Achilles, you ain't coming back from that this season.
Can we talk about Paris Campbell for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can this kid catch a break in life, like in football?
No, or in life. I mean, he had a car accident right before the season started.
And that gave him a concussion or something, right?
Yeah,
like he was.
They put him in concussion protocol. I think it was just to play it safe because, car accident, you don't know, whiplash, that kind of stuff. So they kept him in concussion protocol for a week just to make sure nothing surfaced. And then after that week was over, he was back to practicing, no problem. But
he was a great Buckeye. He was one of my favorite players. I was upset when he went to the Colts, because then I had to cheer for the damn Colts.
I know. Sometimes when you get really athletic players, like athletic players, they're physically not ready for the NFL.
And I didn't see that in him. Like I thought he was. If you watch my draft profile from 2019, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was trying to convince Bill Belichick that Paris Campbell was the guy, you know what I mean? Not N'Keal Harry. I had two guys on my list. DK Metcalf is my first and Paris Campbell because I said, and nobody knew who Paris Campbell was, right? And I kept saying, watch this kid. Go watch his Ohio film. You'll absolutely love him. And Ohio quarterbacks suck. You know what I mean? And so go watch what he's doing. Look what he did with Dwayne Haskins. Like go check this kid out. And people are like, no, he's a nobody. And then the bloody Colts took him. And I said, of course the Colts took him. Of all the teams, the freaking Colts. Now, I thought he was going to be catching passes from Andrew Luck, right? So I was okay when it was Jacoby Brissett, but then the kid got hurt. You know what I mean? And then this year, it finally looked like he was healthy and turning things around. And then he gets in the car accident. And now he's hurt again. But I'm telling you, Colts fans, believe me, and I hate complimenting the friggin' Indianapolis Colts. You know that, Lawrence. But if this kid stays healthy, you're going to love him. And he could be TY level or higher when he's healthy, man.
Oh, yeah. Most Colts fans know this.
Good.
They've seen. I mean, they watch, when he gets the ball in his hands, especially on crossing routes or post routes or something, drag routes, man, what he could do after the catch is unbelievable. He is so fast. And what sucks is it was an end around reverse run that got him hurt. Okay. And Alpha Wolf over here on YouTube said, it's the turf. And I have to agree because quite frankly, if you watch, his cleats stuck in the turf when he got hit in the knee, and his cleat did not move, not one little bit, but his knee sure did, and that it was a nasty. I thought for sure that was an ACL MCL tear, but I'm just glad it was a PCL MCL instead.
I mean, we'll have to see. It's the kid could be just absolutely phenomenal, and I hope such good things for him. It really irritates me that I have to cheer for freaking Damon Arnett this weekend, and he's playing against the Patriots. Like it's, dude. Ohio State had 3 guys. Sorry, I got to brag about Ohio here for a second. They had 3 guys go in the first round this year. Like that's just how we didn't win a national championship. Right, still just blows my mind. Like how we couldn't get past freaking Clemson. To even get a shot at LSU. Anyways, I digress on that. You'll love Paris Campbell. Oh, so yeah. I guess bringing it back to the Jets, man, listen, this is the kind of game that I hope if I have something to do and I can't watch a game, and I that hasn't happened in 3 years, but I don't know. TV schedules may change. The first week, the Patriots weren't on here. Like I have Game Pass, so I just watched it on Game Pass. But now that they're getting better, they might actually start making the television around here again. But the Jets are a team last year, the year before, this year. It's like if I'm up at the cottage and it's not showing on the regular channels and I can't watch the game, you always hope it's a Jets game because you just know it's going to be a win and you can, just relax for the day and you're not missing much and you can watch the highlights and be satisfied. And even with all your injuries in Indianapolis, like I said, it's at least a 10-point game. If this is a 9.5 spread, Lawrence, I'm laying 9.5. I won't give 11 to anybody. That's just my thing. I won't lay 11 points if you were playing nobody. And you're basically playing nobody.
The 06 Patriots were playing today's Jets. You wouldn't drop 11?
The 06? No. The 07 Patriots, maybe.
Maybe the 07?
Maybe with Randy Moss. No. In 07, I lost a lot of games because there was a game the Patriots were a 21-point favorite. And I'm like, I'm not laying. I can't lay.
I remember that game.
I can't lay 21 points, and they scored 42 and won by 42, so they covered. But how can you lay 21 points? How can you in good conscience lay 21 points when 11 scares me, But the thing is Vegas is always close. If they're not right, they're close. So it's, yeah, if you're a big homer, I mean, go for it.
Brian on YouTube asked a great question, Ray. So what is actually wrong with the Jets? Is it the underachieving or injury players or the play calling / coaching?
Oh, God, where do I start, Lawrence? It's number one, it's 2 things. They brought in a new GM who wanted to establish his own team, and in the process, he brought in Adam Gase. Okay? Sorry.
Adam Gase.
No, hold on. I got that wrong. They brought in Adam Gase, who got the GM fired, and brought in his own GM, who he wanted to work with.
How you can have that, that's not right at all. Coach shouldn't be able to do that.
I want you for a second to think about the Miami Dolphin teams that he coached. And some of the talent that he had on that team that is now sprinkled around the league. A Mr. Landry comes to mind.
Tannehill.
What's that?
Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill. Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
A lot of, and this is in the last 2 years. A lot of good players, and they underachieved. They had a great defense 3 years ago. Adam Gase is, first of all, Colts fans, if you could help a Patriots fan, and I know you don't want to, but if you could, please go on Twitter and continue the hashtag extend Adam Gase. Okay? If you could, it's beginning to trend. It's something I believe in, and I want people to keep it going because I just want to see Jets fans squirm in their seats. So if you could help out a brother, do it, and I'll help you out if you need me for something. But, you want to trail some Jaguars or some Titans fans, I got your back. I won't troll Deshaun Watson though. No, it's Adam Gase. He's bad in the locker room, and there was huge reports of that last year. He tries to run. He's the final word, his word only. He doesn't like leaders. It's why Jamal Adams became a problem, and the Jets on their own. Sam Darnold, we heard this last night from Adam. I didn't even know this, but he's from New York. Our partner on Sportscastr, he's from New York, so he gets these little insights. They asked him who's the leader in the locker room, and he said, well, it was Jamal Adams. He didn't even name a new leader. So you got rid of the leader of the locker room for no reason whatsoever. I just crowned him the best strong safety in football. You've seen the hit your defenses take since he left. Adam Gase, they call the quarterback wizard. Well, Ryan Tannehill looks a lot more successful with Mike Vrabel than he ever did with Adam Gase. That's the problem. Unfortunately, if you look at this Jets team, they should have went into this season with, I forget his first name, but Robbie, the receiver. They should have went in with Le'Veon Bell. They should have went in with Jamal Adams. They should have went in with Sam Darnold. They should have had their core four. They should have had a couple of players. The Jets should be in a we need to win now situation, yet they're closer to a rebuild than they are to with their young team. They've ruined Sam Darnold. And I do. Look, their last coach there, Bowles or whatever his name was, at least guys were developing. Sam Darnold was developing under him. As far as I'm concerned, Sam Darnold has regressed since Adam Gase took over this team, yet he's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. Adam Gase is, and I hate using this word, no, I'll use a different one. He's toxic. It's a toxicity in that dressing room. That is the problem. You know what? Rex Ryan was toxic. It worked for a couple years, and then it turned toxic. Adam Gase came in, and it was toxic immediately. He underachieved in Miami. He's killing the Jets. And I mean, it's just a Jet thing to do. You bring in a coach that's going to destroy the locker room. They haven't had a real coach, let's face it, since Bill Parcells. No, they haven't had a real coach since Bill Belichick has been their coach for 2 days before resigning and becoming the New England Patriots coach in 2000.
You wouldn't say Ryan was a real coach?
No, I think Ryan is a great defensive coordinator. I think he was an awful head coach. I said it worked for 2 years with the Jets, and they got their swag and got their thing, and then that swag got in the way. Right?
Yeah,
and they got in their own way. And as far as I'm concerned, Rex Ryan ruined Mark Sanchez. He did not know how to develop him, and he was awful in Buffalo. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, but again, he had a good team in Buffalo. He had Stephon Gilmore. He had, Tyrod Taylor. He had good players on that team. He had Chris Hogan. He had, good players on that team. I think Richie Incognito was his left guard at the time, which is the perfect player for Rex Ryan, somebody who's a troubled, head case. And the Jets had a lot of good players, and they all became head cases. Look what Darrelle Revis turned into after he left the Jets. He started playing like Revis Island again, won a Super Bowl, then went back to the Jets and, had the rest of his miserable career, right? No, Rex Ryan is, to me, one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time. But what he did with the Ravens, and all that kind of thing, fantastic. But I think he was an awful head coach.
All right, guys. Still got a few more things I want to go over, but since I got a few people watching now, please smash that like button. give me a subscription if you're not subscribed already. Don't forget, check out Ray Rauth on his channel and subscribe. And over in my chat is Joe Nubo over there jibber jabbering in my chat. I forgot I made him a moderator. But give him a follow, subscription. Check out his channel. He covers the Ravens. As a matter of fact,
are we going to talk about how the Ravens are going to get just smacked around by the Chiefs this weekend? I love it because he can't fight back.
Well, didn't you guys already talk about that yesterday?
We did, and we both picked the Ravens, so he knows I'm just trolling him.
All right. But please hit that like button. Please appreciate it. It helps with the analytics on YouTube. And share this. It doesn't take much, man. Just hit the little share button, click copy, go to one of your social media. I don't care, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and just copy paste, man. Very simple. Appreciate it. Here's a question for you. The Indianapolis Colts, did you know, are the least, offensively, they have the least amount of punts in the NFL. They've only punted once a game. Once each game. That's it.
I did not. I did not know that. I mean, technically, three interceptions could be considered flipping over, but no.
Well, turnovers, yeah.
I did not know that though. Once each game.
Once each game, yeah. Oh. That's it. And one of them was downed at the 2-yard line and turned into a safety.
Wow.
So that's actually impressive. I mean, so that goes along with the fact, that the Colts have the number one defense in football, and you're not punting very often, which means obviously you got really good time of possession. So how would you beat this team if you were the Jets? How would you go about going, I have to beat the Indianapolis Colts or I lose my job? How are you going to do it with this team? You're the head coach, not Adam Gase.
I'd put my worst player on the field on the first play of the game, maybe first 2 or 3. And I would hit Phillip Rivers late in the knee. And if he gets up, I would do it again. No. With this current Jets team, I would... Oh, God, Lawrence. If I was scheming a game plan that I thought could work, I would pressure a lot. I would try to rush 5 almost every time. Pray to God that my corners can keep up with Ty and what's the other guy's name? The tight end, Cox, or the guy I never heard
Moali.
of?
Yeah.
Moali Cox, is that his name?
Yep.
Moali Cox. Is he Hawaiian? That sounds like a Hawaiian name. Moali. No?
I don't think so.
Okay. Moali Cox, Ty. Pray to God that we don't have to keep up with thank God we don't have to keep up with Paris Campbell. Try to pressure. I would see if one of my safeties could at all play like Jamal Adams and have him come in for like a spy blitz. I would just pressure. I'd want to hit Phillip Rivers as much as I could and try to disrupt his timing as much as I could. I would even take, not to hurt him, but I would take a couple late hit penalties just to get in his face and remind him he's older. It hurts more. You and I have talked about it. The older you get, the more it hurts to get hit. And I would try to get him as uncomfortable as possible because and offensively, I would tell Sam to close his eyes, throw the ball in the air, and hope that somebody catches it because no one's going to get open. So is Bell still out? Is Le'Veon Bell still out?
Yeah.
All right. So you got no running game. You got Frank Gore. Yeah, I mean, he'll hop out of his wheelchair, after the retirement home. The retirement home, drops him off on the bus in the morning, eh? Like they drop him off on the retirement bus, and then he comes in and he puts icy hot on his knees. So they got no running game. Frank Gore can't run for 4 quarters with a heavy workload, so they're going to throw the ball. God, I don't know, Lawrence. They play tight man to man. I would be doing outlet passes to my running to Frank Gore. I would I'd be putting my tight ends on slants. I'd have I'd have them doing in routes, but right on the line of scrimmage. I'd be doing really shallow in rights where the cornerback can't get close enough, in hope that you can make the first tackler miss and try to pick up 6 or 7 yards. Besides that, Lawrence, I have no idea. I'll tell you how to beat the Jets if I'm the Colts, but if I'm the team of the the coach of the Jets right now, I'm sitting there going, I'm so getting fired, and this team is drafting Trevor Lawrence next year, and because there's no way with the personnel they have, they don't match up with the Colts. And I mean, I'm looking at the Jets roster right now, and I don't see the front four. The front four is my only hope, and it's just hit Rivers, pushes center into him, pushes guard into him. You know, even if he's making crisp throws, make sure he knows your presence. Make him see ghosts a little bit. That's the only chance. That's the only way I got a chance to beat this Colts team. I don't think I'm trying to beat you as the coach, though. I'm trying to mitigate damage.
Yeah, I would say that. Joe just said Sam Darnold has to become Jesus, and Phillip Rivers needs to throw 3 pick sixes in a row in order for the Jets to win.
You know what? That's a good game plan. That's a good game plan, Joe. If I'm the coach, if I'm Adam Gase, that's what I'm hoping for today or Sunday.
That's funny. No, I've seen Sam Darnold play like Jesus at times, but not this year.
Who's he going to throw the ball to?
I know. I mean, you look at Chris Hogan is the only guy I really know, and then you go back to Josh Malone. What? And that's it. That's all the wide receivers they have.
Lawrence,
I'm got tight ends then from then on.
Listen, dude. All right, I was a left guard, but I was an undersized left guard. Right when I finished my playing career, I was 5'11". 230 pounds. I was a very small offensive lineman. That's why my career went nowhere, right? They were like, yeah, well, here's your college degree. Get out of here. Give me a month to quit smoking and catch my wind, and I could play wide receiver on this Jets team. Okay? Mm-hmm. Lawrence, you have to do your stream.
No, actually, someone was calling me.
You have friends?
I have Perry Aston from Unwrapped Sports Network that was trying to get a hold of me, and I just put him on ignore.
Tell him you're busy with Sportscastr.
I'll let him know. I'm busy. I'm busy talking right now.
I could play receiver on this team if you give me a month to get my win back. That's how bad they are. Chris Hogan is, I don't want to call him a bum. He won a couple Super Bowls with us, and he was a big part of Super Bowl 51. But Chris Hogan has dropped off. Like, he's not 7-Eleven anymore.
Yeah, I agree. 158.3, that's the perfect QBR, isn't it?
Yes.
So that would be Jesus's QBR.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, that's what you got to go and do in order to beat the Colts.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Just one pass for a single touchdown, and then your defense has to do the rest.
Fantastic. I mean, why not? Is there a way that they can scheme a play that he throws the ball in the air and catches it himself and then runs down the field? Who scored a touchdown like that last year?
I remember that, and I don't remember.
It bounced back.
Yeah.
And he caught it himself. Was it Jameis? Joe, who was it? Joe knows all this stupid little facts.
He'll probably say it was Lamar Jackson, and he ran it for 99 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and then and they gave him 8 points because he's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Because, exactly.
I'm looking at Sam Darnold's stats. 42 for 67, 394, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. I mean,
that's a good completion percentage
for such a bad team.
Yeah,
he's played well.
Yeah,
just he's got a quarterback rating of 82.6. Like, I don't even know if you could blame him. It's
and it's against Buffalo and San Francisco's defenses.
Yeah, and this is why I don't like traditional stats, because stats I find, especially for quarterback, they go against quarterbacks. It's a little bit unfair. It's a reflection of the team, not the player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, man. Any more questions for me, Lawrence?
Fitzgerald caught his own pass yesterday.
Did he?
Brian said that. Yeah, on YouTube. On YouTube, he said that. But he lost 2 yards on the catch.
Oh, wow.
But at least it wasn't a sack. It was a completed pass for negative 2 yards. That's great. I can't remember who did it myself either, but I do remember that's happened a couple times.
It has.
Where and it turned into a positive play, not just negative 2 yards, Brian.
Well, Marcus Mariota did it. So maybe it wasn't last year. It was in 2018. Okay. Marcus Mariota caught his own pass. That's the only thing coming up right now for a touchdown.
Okay. I remember Andrew Luck picking up that fumble.
Yeah, I know that guys have caught their own passes, but this one was actually for a touchdown, and it was Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
And it was against the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, that's even better. I love when bad things happen to the Chiefs.
Brian did mention something that the Jets need to do. Now, I've said this 150 times on many different streams. The Colts run D is so good on the edges. They protect around the tackles and sweeps and stuff like that because they're so fast. Their weakness is right up the gut, and that is Gore's strength. Mm-hmm. So, if the Jets can somehow get decent blocking against the D tackles and get hands on guys like Anthony Walker and Darius Leonard, maybe Gore can break a couple big ones up the middle. That would be something that would really help Sam Darnold out. Really, I mean, get him a little bit of breathing room because I got this ugly feeling that the Colts defense is going to bring a lot of pressure. And they've only sent blitzes 14% of snaps this season, and they're like 3rd in the NFL in sacks and like 7th in the NFL in quarterback pressure percentage, and
because of the outside.
Because just their defensive line is able to get pressure so far.
Well, I'm looking at the Jets stat bar here, or play call bar here, and they run the ball behind the center, the left guard, or the right guard more than any other spot on the field. They haven't this season. They've run it off the right tackle once, and they haven't attacked the end at all, so they won't even go to the right side. And on the left side, they've gone to the left end twice, and they've only ran it behind the left tackle 6 times. Whereas they've ran it behind the center 16 times, they've ran it behind the left guard 5 times, and they've run it behind the right guard 7 times. So that kind of does seem like an up-the-gut, power forward, Frank Gore type of running that they're calling right now.
Well, that's typically throughout, like last year, that was the weakness. Now, the Colts have DeForest Buckner now. That's right up there in the middle. So that could be what makes this run D so darn good now. But we'll see.
And he's getting paid a lot of money to be there.
Yeah, a lot of $21 million freaking dollars a year.
I would have paid it.
Oh, yeah.
I would have given the first round and the $21 million.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's worth it. I mean, he showed it last week against the Vikings how much he's worth. So
you got to think about it. What are the odds you're going to get a DeForest Buckner with your first round pick?
At number 16 at that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, but the odds are you're not. So you might as well give it up and get. And he's young.
Yeah.
So
we'll have him in that 5-year extension on his contract. We'll have him all the way up until he's 31, which will put that's his full prime right there. So
then he'll want more money, and you let him walk away and get overpaid somewhere else. It's perfect. You're in a
or trade him off,
or trade him in his 5th year. Yep, depending where the Colts are. Absolutely.
Yep. All right, so what are your score predictions for this game? We're going to go ahead and end this out. But before I say that, I want to say thanks to Jane Doe, SFall86, Will the Great, and Texas Gal 3394 for joining on Sportscastr. If you're watching here on Sportscastr, like 75 other people, and I didn't name your name off, you don't have a profile. You should be making a profile. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to check me out on Sportscastr because I got a lot of stuff. Me and Ray and Joe, we all work for Sportscastr News, and we put out a lot of stuff every day. And you might come over here, give us a follow, make a profile, give us a follow. That way you won't miss the stories that we come up with on a daily basis. Now, Ray, what's a score?
All right, Lawrence, you know I make my score predictions based on numbers, right? This is where I did it. So maybe I am taking the 11 points, Lauren. Maybe I am. All right. The Colts are going to do better than their 24-point average. I'll tell you that much. I think this game is going to be 31 for the Colts. I'm going to, because of Sam Darnold and Frank Gore, I'm going to give the Jets 14. 31-14.
Yeah, that's more than the 11. What's the over on this game? Do you know?
I don't know, 140. Let me check.
I don't think so because both defenses are pretty good defenses.
Let me see.
I wouldn't doubt if it's in the low 40s or lower.
The over-under is... Hold on, I had to go to a different website.
Oh, you're fine.
The money line, 43.5.
Yep, low 40s.
So,
I will. Ooh, that's hard. You've got right at about that line, don't you?
Yeah, I'm like at like 48 points or something like that. I'm just doing the math. Let me actually do the math, Lawrence. Well, I'm at 45. So
45.
I'm just beating the 43.5.
I'm going to go 35-13.
So you're right. You're about 7 points past. Yeah, I mean it's yeah. I mean it's a tough one because the Colts haven't put up a whole lot of points. You know what I mean? But the Jets have given up a whole lot of points. So I'm trying to, when I did the math, this is all based on my arithmetic, and the arithmetic tells me 31-14.
I also figure that this is still another week into the system with Phillip Rivers and getting to know his receivers and everything. Another week for Jonathan Taylor to know his blockers in front of him. And I just feel like that this offense, even without Paris Campbell, will just be a little bit better and more in sync with each other than what they have been the previous 2 weeks.
I'll tell you what I couldn't handle, though, Lawrence. I couldn't handle having to private message you again with another major injury because the last 2 weeks has sucked. So on behalf of Colts fans, my hopes is you guys, I don't even care if you walk away with a win. I know you care about it more, but I'm hoping you guys walk away healthy from this game.
Oh, I think every Colt fan reflects that exact sentiment right there. We're tired of the injuries. Last year, we were decimated with injuries. This year, it's starting off the same way. We want this to end. We think it might be the turf. We don't know exactly.
Your doctors aren't puncturing wounds in the lungs or anything like that, are they?
As far as I know, no. I don't think they are. Not for painkillers. Okay. They might be beating them up for the fun of it. But they don't report that.
How horrible has it gotten that we have been making jokes about a guy getting his lung punctured? But it's such a crazy story that it's had to have turned into a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I really do. Walter Reed says 17-14. Ooh, he's got a tight one.
Ooh, Alpha Walter, you're wrong, but good one. That's ballsy.
Yeah, that is. I don't think it's going to be that close at all. Alpha Wolf 28-17. That's more realistic. And Brian about got what I got, 34-16.
I was gonna say, are Colts fans trying to be humble here? You're just oh, we're humble. But Peyton's gone, so you don't want to be arrogant anymore. Is that what the problem?
Well, you don't see. Well, there's a little bit of worry because of the Jacksonville game, right? We're still kind of hung over, going, we lost to Jacksonville.
Man, the Patriots went into Monday Night Football and got embarrassed by the Kansas City Chiefs, and we won the Super Bowl that year. Again, these are professional football players. This is Phillip Rivers. He's used to getting his ass kicked by a team he's not supposed to at some point. You'll be fine. You're playing the Jets. You're going to whoop their ass, Colts fans. This is from a Patriots fan who hates the Colts but hates the Jets more but loves football. You're going to whoop their ass. If I'm wrong, Joe or Lawrence, I I don't know. I'll come on here and apologize to all your fan base, and I will read every comment and take whatever heat they want to throw at me.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for showing. Ray, thanks for showing up, man. I really appreciate your insights and your analytics and your numbers. Before we end this, don't forget, smash that like button down there, please. I really appreciate it. It helps with the analytics down there.
Smash the like. Subscribe to Lawrence. If you're not subscribed to Lawrence and you're watching this live, you suck. Subscribe to him. He's great. You don't have to deal with me. You have to deal with him. It's better.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. So I actually, believe it or not, good luck Sunday to the Patriots. I'm not worried about it, man, because I'm not AFC East anymore, like you say. And we really don't have a rivalry anymore because it's not Peyton versus Brady. Neither team has either one of those players anymore.
Can I drop an interesting AFC East Colts reference for your fans?
Sure.
Did you know that the Colts have won the AFC East more recently than the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, that's sad. Oh, that's sad.
I wanted to share that with your fan base. Yeah. They have a more recent AFC East won the division more recently than the Buffalo Bills.
Oh my goodness, that's so sad. All right, well, we're gonna jump off here. Alpha Wolf said lesser of two evils for Ray.
Could you imagine? But hold on. I know you got to go, Lawrence, but I need a second. If you're gonna let me talk to Colts fans, I'm gonna talk to Colts fans. Could you imagine if the Colts would have been in the AFC East when it was Brady and Manning, like they're both at their height? How great that would have been.
Oh,
twice a year. Battling for the East, probably having playoff battles, like it would have been phenomenal.
You probably wouldn't be on my show, and I probably wouldn't be on your show.
No, we'd probably hate each other.
Real.
We'd hate each other. Yep, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a hate respect because it was just a once a year thing, but I think if it was a divisional thing, we might have actually hated each other.
Yeah, it's because too much trash talking.
Social media wasn't a big thing then, though. So
no.
we might have surpassed it by then.
Well, possibly. All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and jump off here. We've been here an hour. Thanks everybody for joining. I've only said that about 3 times already, but
just say goodbye.
Have a good one, everybody. Have a good one.